This is the How'd You Do It podcast, and I'm your host, Lyle Wilkes. I believe that people have more to offer and knowledge to share than they ever give themselves credit for. So, with that, my goal is to deep dive into the success stories of business owners, entrepreneurs, and community icons so they can share the road they traveled and what they learned along the way. Welcome back to the How'd You Do It podcast. I'm your host, Lyle Wilkes, and this is episode 17. Today we have Jamie Brown. Jamie is the Director of Community Relations at the Heart of Alabama Food Bank. Jamie is honestly just awesome. She has a true servant's heart. She loves the community and loves giving to people. We talk about, for one, what the Heart of Alabama Food Bank actually does, their mission, and what they're doing to fight food insecurity here in Alabama. Take a listen. I know you'll enjoy this one. Well, Jamie, thank you for coming on the How'd You Do It podcast. I'm super excited to have you on, especially with what you do.
hmm
And we'll get into that. But, tell me, are you just a Montgomery native? Have you always been in the area?
So I grew up in Montgomery,
Okay.
but have been in Elmore County since 2001. So
Yeah.
I got married and moved to Millbrook.
Okay. So
So
this is the born and raised.
hmm
Okay.
yeah,
Have you
yeah.
always enjoyed the river region? Ever wanted to go out or come back or?
Yeah, because I'm pretty much a homebody. Now, I do, I have been places and I have enjoyed going to those places, but this is home.
Yeah.
This is home.
Yeah. I think a lot of people discredit where we live at too.
hmm
And people that live here get it in the aspect of you're 3 hours from the beach, you're 3 hours from the mountains, you're 2.5 from Atlanta.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's a cool spot we live in.
it is.
So did you go to college?
I did.
Where'd you graduate?
I graduated from Troy, Montgomery, actually.
Oh, my
hmm
wife graduated from Troy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I started out at main campus and then I really wasn't ready for college. I just went to college because I thought that's just what you do. And I was not ready. And I ended up coming back to work and worked and then started with an employer that had tuition assistance and they paid for the rest of my college through my master's degree.
Oh wow, that
So
worked out.
it worked out great.
I was about to say that's
It
like a
worked out
happy
great.
accident. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
What was your degree in?
human resource management.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you always wanted to be in that sort of field,
No, honestly, when I first started out, I wanted to be in marketing and then took some courses like, I don't know if I want to do marketing, but I'm, kind of, I guess you could say, kind of in that field. But I did spend 25 years doing human resources and training. And I really did enjoy that because it was about helping people.
yeah,
And so I've just been able to translate the skills that I had in human resources with recruiting and training and career development and all of those things into my role at what I'm doing now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your first job in human resources? What was your
Oh gosh. It was a trainer. I
okay?
did one-on-one training in a department at, of all places, Regions Mortgage.
Okay.
So I started my financial services career there, but um, and it just an opportunity became open in the training department and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like getting in front of people to talk. When you go through the trainer, they're like, who wants to go first? I'm like, me. Let me get it over with. And which I find irony in that now because I don't have a problem getting in front of people and talking.
Sure.
So I kind of overcame that fear, but that's kind of how it started.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you enjoy that side of things?
I did
Yeah.
because, I was able to take what I knew and I kind of built even like and this is a long time ago, but my own like training materials to kind of help new hires when they came on board because number one, it was scary. You're starting a new job, and I wanted to make them feel comfortable learning. And I felt like that one on one was good because you didn't have the pressure, of other people. And so I think that was a good start for me.
Yeah, and this was in the banking side of the
Mhm.
world. Okay, so
Mhm.
you got your start in lending banking. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, from a financial services
Okay.
perspective,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So that was I'm gonna date myself, but that was
Well, you
in
don't have to.
89.
Yeah, yeah.
That was in I think it was 89, May of 89. But prior to that, I had done some retail sales and actually got started working with my dad. He had a small business, and so I
What'd your dad own?
well, he had he had a bunch of different businesses, but a lot of them were association related, and so he had members that he would send stuff to. I mean, I just remember helping him type stuff and nope, you misspelled that. Go back and do that. I'm like, oh,
Gosh, I am the world's
oh,
worst speller. Like, I try to check it, and
yeah.
I always miss one or two. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, but I will say, working with him, I was probably 15,
Oh,
16 years old, and it really helped establish my work ethic.
gotcha.
And so I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, so you learned that from your
I
dad.
did.
Oh,
I
cool.
did.
All
Yeah.
right. So you started training after college, or no? Well, went to college for a little bit, and then
Mhm.
started at Regions.
Mhm.
Regions,
Mortgage. Mhm.
yeah, trainer there from the
Mhm.
human resources side,
Mhm.
and you were going to school during that time period as well.
I was, and I had an opportunity to move into the human resources department, and I just had um, Beth Regness was my person, and she just saw potential in me and gave me those opportunities to learn and grow. And so, eventually did some recruiting, did um, career development, and before I left, I was the human resources business partner
Yeah.
for that particular bank group.
Talk about the recruiting side of things. How
Oh,
was that?
well, it was interesting. I mean, I enjoyed it. You had an opportunity to meet a lot of different people, but you also had to balance the need of the department or the manager that you're hiring for and making sure you get a good fit.
Yeah.
That's important. I mean, you need to be qualified, but they also need to be a good fit. And so I tried to, you know, it's important to know that manager, maybe have a little bit of knowledge about the team to know, is this person really going to be a good fit?
Yeah.
Because if some, I've seen it where it wasn't a good fit and then they didn't stay. And so that was a very valuable experience.
Yeah, of course, with what I do, there's recruiting involved, right?
Mhm.
And I will say it's one of the toughest jobs in the world,
Yeah.
because it's kind of relying on you for growth in a way,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
expansion and things like that. But
Yeah.
to your point of finding it's more they have to be qualified,
Right.
but it's the right fit. Do they fit
Mhm.
the culture? Do they fit the
Yeah.
dynamic? If it's their
Mhm.
personality type,
Yeah.
can't get too many chiefs and
Right. That you're exactly right
yeah.
because if you have everybody that looks like you, thinks like you, acts like you, I mean, it's not you don't have that variety. And I think there's so much value in and the diversity of the experience, the individual. There's so many positives.
Yeah, because even too, like on the, hiring somebody or recruiting side, I've experienced of like you bring in somebody new on,
Mhm.
right? Well, they may challenge the original people there, and even
Yeah.
though outside looking it's a good thing, it creates
Yeah.
friction with that, and so then
Yeah.
it's,
I know. I
yeah,
know. I'm working through that.
yeah. But I think that's growth in general, though,
Mhm.
right? You got to break it down to build it up.
Yeah.
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 So, what was your favorite part of like what did you like recruiting or training more?
Um, Golly, that's a good question because they were all great in their own way.
Yeah.
I did training more because even when where I was before am now, I mean that's what I came in doing,
Yeah.
and it's there's a lot of preparation that goes into it, a lot of research, and I think it was just great because you could see people progress.
Yeah.
So that was always really good.
Yeah, of course I got started out selling real estate and I still sell real estate, but I do a ton of training and
Mm-hmm.
coaching and stuff now.
Yeah.
And I get more satisfaction out about helping them help their clients win. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the right
Yeah.
way of saying it. You know what
Yeah.
you talk about their growth and seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very fulfilling thing. So,
Yeah.
and you started the training process rather young, right?
What do you mean?
Well, no, well, because you said in college, right? Yeah.
Oh, well, because I was a non-traditional student though.
Oh,
So
okay.
I went the
Okay.
non-traditional student route. So I stepped away from higher ed for I guess it was a couple of years and then the personnel director at the time says, "Jamie, why are you not finishing your school?" I'm like,
Okay.
And she's
Okay.
like, "We've got tuition reimbursement. If you make good grades, you're not going to have to come out of pocket that much." And she was right.
Yeah.
And my mom took care of that first semester at Troy main campus, and then I finished it here in Montgomery. But I was very thankful for that benefit
Yeah.
that they offered.
I gotcha. No, I guess I just pictured college kid training. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
yeah.
Okay, fair enough, fair
Yeah, I
enough.
was an
I
older college
misunderstood.
kid training.
Hey, fair enough, fair enough. Well, I was gonna, yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. So, how long were you in? Like, did you did the training, you did the recruiting?
Mhm.
Any other things that you did job wise in the financial side of things, or
That was the bulk of what I
bulk of it?
did before coming to the Heart of Alabama Food Bank. I did do business development, so that was kind of cool too.
What was the what started the itch to move or change or
I mean, I'll just be perfectly honest, Lal. I mean, it really was a God thing. I,
yeah,
I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking, and this opportunity came available. And even before getting out of the training piece, there was an opportunity there too. And I was like, let me just ask. You have not because you ask not, and so
that's for
you
sure.
just ask.
Yeah.
um, but that's where I am now. It was not of my doing. It really wasn't, but it has been an incredible blessing.
Did the opportunity just come to you?
It's more of like, hey, there's this opportunity. I was like, oh yeah, 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 and then it's like, oh, I need to talk to Michael, and so I did interviewed, and it went well, and here I am.
Okay.
Here I
So
am.
tell me, let's start there then. So tell me, you're at the Heart of Alabama Food
Mhm.
Bank
Mhm.
now,
Yep.
and what was the first days like? What was the start? What was the desire to make that move?
Well, going back again, it was a total God thing. It was like when he says go, you go, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because I just knew I knew that this is the move I needed to make. And sometimes I'm like, really, what am I supposed to be doing? I mean, I know, but he has the plan. I
Sure.
don't have the plan. But yeah, I remember sitting in Michael's office my first day. I'm thinking, oh, I'm not going to the same place I've been going to for over 17 years. And it's a total different industry from financial services to nonprofit. And I remember sitting in the chair in his office thinking, oh, wow, is this okay? So it was a little scary
Yeah.
because, I mean, I had some nonprofit experience through Max for Kids Foundation, and but that was it. But I had been a supporter of the Heart of Alabama Food Bank myself as a donor, and it's been an incredible, incredible learning experience. The team that we have there, bar none, some of the best folks. Some of the best folks because they all have a heart for mission and they know what we're trying to do each and every day. And when we're all rowing that way to accomplish our mission, it's very rewarding.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah.
I imagine so. So tell me a little bit like about the different, I guess, I'm gonna use the word fingers of the Heart of Alabama
Mhm.
Food Bank in the
Mhm.
local community. What do you guys do? What do how do you do it? Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So it takes a lot of people, it takes a lot of funding, it takes a lot of partnerships. But a lot of people don't realize this, but we serve 35 of the 67 counties across the state. And so we're able to do that through our affiliate food banks that are located in Auburn, Dothan, Selma, and Tuscaloosa. So, what we do is we source and acquire food. We purchase food. We receive food donations from Walmart. We're making a trip to Walmart regularly down in Brundage to that distribution center to pick up food. Publix, a lot of different grocery stores
Hmm.
are great partners. Like I said, we have food drives. I mean, we just got off, depending on when you're listening to this, but in June of 2025, we had the
Yeah.
summer funded food drive, and so that was a huge benefit to us, really to our community. And so anyway, all of that food comes in, we inventory it, and then our partner agencies. We have about 200 partner agencies that we serve directly. So out of those 35 counties, we directly serve 12. And within those 12 counties are the agencies and food pantries that we work with. And so they'll place their order based on the inventory we have to serve their clients, and they will come and pick that up from us, and then they'll take it back, get it into their pantries, and then um, serve their clients. Yeah.
I guess one of the things, when we first met, and I started really kind of understanding better what you guys do was the actual need. And I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think people realize how many kids are hungry, how
Yeah.
many families are struggling in
Yeah.
Central Alabama.
It is eye-opening. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
And I don't have those numbers right off the top of my head, but I do know that the number of food insecure people in the areas that we serve is about 296,000 people.
yeah,
And then you break it down by county. Um, Montgomery County, I think, with the latest stats that we have from Feeding America, over 40,000 people are food insecure just in Montgomery County. Autauga County, I think, is about 8,900. Elmore County, it's just under 13,000.
yeah,
The thing is, that's what's been reported. So we know there's way more than that. And we're just doing what we can to lessen the line, be a resource for those who have a need. And at the core of all of that is treating them with dignity, because no one should feel any sort of way about saying, hey, I need food, because the reality, and I'll just say, if you're watching this, you're looking at people who could be food insecure,
yeah,
because food insecurity looks just like us. And what that means is basically they don't have enough, or they don't have access to quality nutritious food for everybody in their household. So you've got parents and grandparents making the decision to not eat so they can provide food for their kids or their grandkids. You've got seniors who are making the tough decision, do I pay for life-saving medication or do I eat? It's
yeah,
it's a struggle. But knowing that we have tremendous partners that are walking alongside of us, like you guys,
yeah,
because what y'all are doing is incredible. Um, and knowing we've got those agencies that are meeting the needs of those clients on a regular basis is I'll just say it again, it's just incredible,
yeah,
the work that's being done.
yeah. I don't know. It's amazing watching people just come together over a
Mhm.
cause too. And
Yeah, it
like
is.
it's neat even with some of the stuff we do like on the serving and
Mhm.
different things, it's true joy,
Mhm.
Like it really is.
Mhm.
Like and it's just it's neat to watch. I don't know, just people from all different walks of life, all different industries come together for one
Yeah.
cause.
They
So,
do. They
yeah.
do. And when, whether it's, a food drive that you could host within your business, or, the big ones that we do a couple of times a year, giving people an opportunity to give back. And a lot of times, if you're giving to us or you're supporting us, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to see the people that are going to be receiving that.
Yeah.
So you have to give knowing that you're giving because it's greater than each of us, right?
Yeah.
Now we do have mobile pantries where we partner with our agencies to do those, and businesses have actually hosted some of those as well, and it gives their team members opportunities to volunteer. But that you do get to see
Mm,
those that are being served. And um, again, you just have to remove any sort of bias or any sort of feeling about who you're serving, because again, they have a need and they're there, and that's what we're there to do, is to bridge that gap for them.
absolutely.
Yeah.
How much food do you guys go through?
Oh my gosh. I think last fiscal year it was over 29 billion pounds, because we measure stuff in pounds. Um,
29
billion.
billion with a B
With a B.
pounds.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just, that's a ton of food.
It is. I
Yeah.
mean, it's and I can't, my friend Jessica knows these numbers better than I do, but like, if you were to put the retail value of what we go through, it's skyrocketing. But yeah, that's about, I think, about 24 million meals.
Yeah.
And so that's what's coming in and out of our warehouses every
Yes,
week.
I know when we went, we did the Elmore County Food
Mhm.
Pantry,
Yep.
and of course, met the people coming in because it was, and I will say I don't know if every one of the locations is like that, but it's like a shopping
It
experience
is.
for them,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think that helps with that insecurity and
Mhm.
feeling okay,
Yes.
like going
Yes.
to receive what you need.
Mhm.
But that was fun. But what was I getting at? I was getting at the fact of like the amounts of food that are stacked
Oh yeah.
and just stacked,
Mhm.
and they're
Mhm.
saying they'll go through that in a couple
Oh
weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, and I love that. I love that approach that they are doing.
Yeah.
It's a client. It's called client choice,
Yeah,
and
client
so,
choice. Yeah.
and that way it gives them that feeling of like, okay, I'm able to choose what I need from my family, and I mean, just as though we would want to do ourselves. And so, not every agency is set up that way, but they know how best to serve their clients.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. What is your direct role at the food bank?
So, director of community relations. So, I work with a lot of businesses, talking to them about, what are some ways that you can, walk alongside of us as a partner in our mission. Also, giving them opportunities for their team members to volunteer because that's always it's not, it's fun, but at the same time, you're helping us support our mission because I think just in one of our areas, from a packing boxes for our seniors. I mean, we pack about 4,000 boxes a month. Now, we don't have the staff to do that.
Yeah.
And so when we have our volunteers there, I mean, they are truly helping us make an impact because we couldn't do it without them. Um, so just, you know, identifying opportunities, businesses that are like minded, where maybe their philanthropic vision is aligned with ours, and just getting them involved. And then hopefully, their team members are like, wow, I had no idea all this was here. And then they may in turn say, hey, I want to be able to support them myself at some point down the line. And so
Yeah.
that, and just being involved with the community, making those connections, continuing to build relationships,
Yeah.
and that's important.
Is it a lot of trying to get, or well, that's not the right question. Is it a lot of getting people to take action, or is it raising awareness, you feel like, for you?
A little of both, to be honest,
Really?
Lyle. Yeah, because I just had coffee with someone this morning talking about, Heart of Alabama Food Bank, and she had no idea that we serve 35 counties. A lot of people don't. And just a little back history, most people probably remember us as the Montgomery Area Food Bank.
Yes.
So we went through a rebrand a few years ago. So it just better represents who we are and who we serve. Um, but yeah, the awareness is important. When I have opportunities to speak to civic clubs,
Yeah.
I love to be able to tell them, and I can share with them if I'm in Pike County, I can give them Pike County statistics,
Yeah.
and as an example. But it is bringing awareness
Yeah.
to what we're doing.
Yeah, because I think the awareness thing is what struck me the most. And I experienced before we met because we did the blessing box at the
Hmm.
eclectic branches. Kind of, we
Yeah,
wanted to give back where
yeah,
people can go in and leave food, and also those who need it, they can take it.
hmm,
Um, but it was shocking to in eclectic Alabama how many
hmm,
people would take what they just how
yeah,
many people used it.
right,
And not only that, then you have all the businesses around, which was so neat. Just all
yeah,
of a sudden, they just start like, "Hey, here's a box of stuff. Make sure and put it in
yes,
there." So they were helping out, but
hmm,
I just really don't think people realize how tough it can be.
hmm,
And it reminded me of like when I was in school, like you go visit a friend's house and you
hmm,
realize that there's not quite enough to go around,
yeah, yeah.
and there's more. I wish. Do you know the statistic of children like
1 in 4 kids in Alabama are food insecure.
25%?
Hmm. Yep, yep.
Yeah, there's a need.
There is a need. There's a huge need, and so that's, we keep plugging along, and just again identifying folks who want to join us.
Yeah.
And there's, like I said, there's so many different ways that people can get involved.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you know what is there any like underlying causes of this food insecurity?
It varies,
Yeah.
because, like I said, it can look just like you and me. But sometimes, folks, there's so many different obstacles that people have to go through. Sometimes it's a financial obstacle, sometimes it's health related, it's transportation. All of those factors can contribute to those things. And sometimes we're just one paycheck away from being that person in need. And so, education is important, but also, there's so many other organizations that are working to address those things as well. But we're being aware of all of that and doing what we can to kind of minimize that and just be a safety net for people.
Sure. Sure. So how what's your direction on getting local communities and businesses to take action?
So, number one, that relationship with them is important because I don't want every conversation I have to be asking for money.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
because every business is different, but I want to have that relationship first and then know what's important to you. As a business, is it children? Is it veterans? Is it, seniors? What is it that's important? Is it all those people, Um, and then say, okay, well, here's some opportunities that we could partner. And I really like that more so because they're walking alongside of us, and just identifying opportunities that's mutually beneficial for everybody. You're investing in our mission, and how can we um, show that value for you on the other side? So
yeah.
yeah.
I know with our Close with the Impact program,
Hmm.
for me as the business owner, like, and by the way, some people may not know, but every closing that goes through First Call Realty, the client can choose
Hmm.
to feed a family of four for a month, or we donate 250 meals on their
Hmm.
behalf, no cost to the client.
Yeah.
But we've always been First Call Realty's always been. Um, it's about community. It's about
Yeah.
giving back to those that support us.
Hmm.
And so we kind of masterminded, and it's like, how can we make this a part of our business plan?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and because to me, like, it's, your values describe the soul of a company.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
think a lot of times that business owners, I think that a lot of them are we're in my shoes in regards of like, you always set aside money to donate and
Hmm.
give back, but sometimes you don't really know where to give, how to
Right.
give. And also when you do give, you want to make sure it's going back to the people in your community
Right.
that are
Yes.
using your services
Hmm.
versus, going somewhere, you
Yeah.
to keep the money local.
Yeah.
And which I think is super important. And I think you guys do a really good job at that.
Thank you, and I appreciate. I mean, that was brilliant. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love that idea."
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Well,
mean, yeah.
yeah, because it actually dawned on, or it came to me. I was cutting grass, and I was thinking about just what, it was the end of, gosh, we're halfway through
I know,
2025.
I
No,
know it.
end of 2024,
Mhm.
coming towards the end. And I was like, what do we want to do next year? I was like, I really want to give back because we had done some major sponsorships at
Mhm.
different nonprofits, and I was like, if we just need to be more consistent with it,
Yeah.
and it's like, not that we don't have the means or the capability, we just
Mhm.
don't know how.
Yeah.
And so I was putting on my Crocs, and I was like, oh, these kind of look like Tom's shoes. Well,
Uh-huh,
Tom's
yes.
Shoe
Mhm.
Company, every time
Yep.
you buy a pair of shoes,
Mhm.
another pair of shoes goes to, I think, Africa,
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. Every time we have a closing, let's just do something. There's got to
Yeah.
be somebody we can partner
Oh,
with. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I think when you give people the opportunity,
Mhm.
they jump, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so even, when I've sat down with several clients and, like, hey, this is something we do close with an impact. You can
Mhm.
make your choice. And they're like, well, can I match it?
Oh, wow.
That,
Yeah.
because I just, like, when it's just like this small spark.
Yeah.
Well, when
Mhm.
when they see you giving, they're like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, I believe in this too. This is
Yeah.
a great thing you're doing,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah.
it's definitely made an impact. Well, I mean, it definitely has, and because, like I said, we're able to stretch those dollars so much more. So we can take $1 and turn that into 5 meals.
Yeah.
So if you were to go to the grocery store and pay $1.75 for a can of green beans, that could have technically been, you know, 5.5, I don't know, meals, I
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
math well, but, um,
Yeah.
but anyway, because we've got that purchasing power
Yeah.
to be able to do that, and so, but it's good because, there's some folks that would rather do financial donation, but then there are others that would like, "No, I really wanna go to the store, I want to select
Mhm.
things and be able to give that, or to donate that," and that's just everybody's different, but for some, it's like that's a tangible thing I can say that I've been able to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I also think a lot of people like giving their time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the book, but there's only certain things you can give. What's the point of that book? It's time, touch, talents, and treasures.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
a lot of people are great at giving their time.
Yeah.
Some people are great at giving their treasures.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely.
and I also think for some people, and I know like agents in the office, we at minimum of once a quarter, we try to do twice a quarter. We go and serve in different areas, but
Mhm.
they feed off of that.
Yeah.
Like they love the closing in, but they love being able to spend a day out
Yeah.
there and just helping in any way possible.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think we're all so blessed in so many ways. And so like you said, using your gifts and talents to give back, I think is important. And I think corporately from a corporate social responsibility standpoint, I mean, that's also a wonderful opportunity to allow your employees to do that. I mean, some businesses say, "Hey, you've got X number of hours a year to give back. Use it."
yeah,
So there are a lot of different ways to get involved.
yeah, yeah. And speaking of the gratitude, not to change the subject entirely, I feel like we've lost a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like oh, and I feel like as society keeps growing and we things keep getting better,
Mhm.
like we keep raising the poverty line, so to speak,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying there's not people without needs. That's not what
Yeah.
I'm getting
Yeah.
at, but the reality is we got it pretty good here. We've
Yeah.
forgotten to be grateful. And
Yeah.
like when you're grateful, you want to give.
Right.
You want to serve. You
Yeah.
want to help others,
Mhm.
versus just the hustle culture of take,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
so.
Well, I have a servant's heart, so I'm all in. I'm all in with it. But and I know I'm going to butcher this quote, but um and I think it's like volunteering is like your rent on this earth, or
Mhm.
it's somebody could say that so much more eloquently
Yeah,
than I just did. But I think when you serve others, I mean, that's like your rent here on earth, because we're human beings. We all have different needs, but there's always an opportunity to do for others.
yeah.
And if you've got that opportunity, um why not?
Yeah. Well, I think people chase happiness, and when they chase happiness, they think about themselves all the time. And the
Mhm.
happiest people I ever have met,
Mhm.
all they do is focus on others.
Yeah.
Now, they don't dismiss themselves. They still take
Right.
care of themselves in the process, but they're
Yeah.
truly focused on what can I do to help someone else today?
Mhm. Yeah.
And they're the happiest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
So,
It's a good
some of the
perspective.
most miserable people I've ever met is how can I make another dollar? How
Right.
can,
Yeah.
they just not happy that
Yeah.
you can hand them a bag full of $100 bills and they complain it's not in 20s,
Yes,
like,
you're right.
yeah, I
You're
mean,
right.
they
Yeah.
would. So,
Mhm.
but I think the more we practice gratitude, the more you fall into that servant's place. And I
Mhm.
really think it's that giver's gain approach,
Mhm.
which I struggle with the giver's gain because I think you give to give, right? Like I think that's just a fundamental you
Yeah.
don't really,
Yeah.
but the reality is you do gain a lot by giving.
You
So,
do. And I believe it's not mine to begin with. I've got to be a good steward
for
of,
sure. Yeah.
and so I do. I love to give.
Yeah.
I do love to give.
So are you guys teamed up with do you work with other nonprofits?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of nonprofits that, I would say I don't want to say walk in tandem with, but
Yeah.
there's so many other amazing organizations, whether it's focusing on the mental health piece, the transportation piece, all of those things. I think it's important just to know who all those are,
Yeah.
because I mean, sometimes we do get questions, and we will refer people to 211, which is another great resource depending on what the need is. Um, but there's a lot of people doing a lot of great work. And
Yeah.
so we just want to be in that same category as doing the great work that
Yeah.
others are doing.
Yeah. Is there anything that you guys right now are struggling with, or like any major problems, or is it still just the amount of food you need?
Well, we've had some government stuff going on that has definitely impacted our budget. We are looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars of lost access to money, basically funding. And so we've got to be able to make that up, because the reality is with those cuts, I mean, even SNAP benefits for people who are receiving SNAP benefits. I mean, there's a bill, it's probably that big beautiful bill, but um that is has one more round of votes, and it could impact those who are on SNAP and Medicare. So we've got to be ready to address that as best we can, because the reality is,
They're coming to you.
yeah, absolutely. And so when, our budget has been reduced significantly, but the need for people the need for food is going to increase. And so that right now is what I mean, that's our reality right now.
When did the cut happen?
It's been within the last, what, maybe 6 weeks or so.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
so it's
recent.
very recent. Yes, it's
Yeah.
very recent.
Is that for 2026 or is it immediate action?
Well, it hits our budget now. So our budget year started the first. So
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah,
okay, so you guys are low on that. Plus, you've got other
hmm
things that are coming, which is going to make the need or the demand for food go up.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, what's
Yeah.
the plan?
Well, we've got to raise some money, Lyle. you know, I mean, if I'm being
Yeah,
honest about it, I mean that's a budget shortfall for us, and we run a very, very lean. We are squeezing juice out everything we can.
yeah,
So we're very, very lean, but we've got an incredible team on board to help us get there. But we can't do it by ourselves, and so um, just identifying opportunities for businesses to get involved. Again, aligning their mission with ours, their values with ours,
yeah,
and just having a mutually beneficial partnership
yeah,
is important. But not just businesses, but there's individuals too.
yeah.
Individuals can contribute. And I think we posted something on social media recently about, hey, the cost of that coffee, if you just set that up on a recurring basis, I mean, that's going to help feed XYZ. So there are a lot of different ways that anybody can get involved.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there and so is that the plan is just more outreach? You're going to
hmm
be busier?
Probably so, Lyle. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. But I mean, but this, we have I will say this about our community. It is extremely generous, extremely generous. And I love that they get behind what we do. And I think it's a testament to what we're doing and that we're doing it very, very well.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of it's bringing awareness. A lot of it is providing education to people.
What does the education part look like? Is it
Just from the standpoint of educating folks of what we're doing
okay?
and how we're
All right.
serving. I say, I invite people to come on tours all the time. Come see for yourself. And 9 times out of 10, when they're leaving, they're like, I had no idea. I'm like, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
how big is your guys' facility?
So we've got 93,000 square feet of warehouse space. Actually, 5 buildings, all are connected. And we have, a USDA program that we're running out of there. We have we're distributing fresh fruits and vegetables. And those are what our agencies are picking up. We have an 8,000 square foot freezer.
It's a lot of freezer.
It's a lot of freezer, and
Yeah.
it's great this time of year. Just the foyer part, I call it the foyer, but
Yeah.
it's nice. But yeah, so it really is incredible.
Yeah.
So I would just say, if you're watching, if you're listening, call me up. I'll give you a tour because I mean, it really, I think when people really see what we do, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I get it. It's not just because if you just drive down Day Street and you just look down Trade Center Street, you're like, oh, there's the food bank.
Yeah.
They just think it's a building. No, there's way more that's going on down there.
Yeah. That was I know for our office the first time we went to the food bank, it was eye-opening for the agents
Mm-hmm.
watching the people come in.
Yeah.
Like it was like they understood it,
Mm-hmm.
but then they experienced it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's two different things,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
It is.
So I think once you experience it, once you go visit the food bank
Mm-hmm.
and you see the amount of food that
Mm-hmm.
gets there, and this is going to individuals, and
Right.
then you think about how much time, energy, and effort it takes just to distribute the
Mm-hmm.
food,
Mm-hmm.
not so much as get it there and the money.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot.
It's a big operation.
Yeah.
And that's what's so beautiful about our agency partners and food pantries that we, directly serve. I mean, these are their neighbors,
Yeah.
you know, and they're my neighbors. They're your neighbors too. And I think we have to remove the stigma sometimes. Again, going back to the not, feeling any sort of way, but it's important that we are treating everybody with
Yeah,
dignity.
and with that stigma, I think it's starting to come down almost organically,
Mm-hmm.
only because I know for me personally how much more expensive my household items are,
Mm-hmm.
how much more expensive it is to feed myself,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's in my budget,
Mm-hmm.
and I I don't have 5 kids. I don't
Yeah.
have 3, you know,
Mhm.
I just don't, and,
Yeah.
you know, I think that puts things in perspective, and I
Mhm.
think there's more of not that I don't know, not that our we're, you know, we're in a very, very tough time right now, but I do think inflation's pretty high, and it's
Yeah.
affected the cost of goods so much to where
Mhm.
everyone's feeling it,
Yeah.
and now that everyone's feeling it, I think that almost naturally brings a little bit of awareness.
It does.
Yeah.
And, as you were talking, it kind of reminded me of two other programs that we have to address some of that. I talked about the kids and adults in Alabama, 1 in 4 and 1 in 6, but 1 in 4 active military families are considered to be food insecure. And you're like, oh, wow, they're defending our country, but they're struggling to pay, to provide their family food. And so we have a new program called Heroes Harvest.
Huh.
So we're working with Maxwell and identifying families who have that need, because even though they may receive allowances for certain things, it disqualifies them for SNAP benefits and other things. And um, so we have a direct route program for them. And so we will deliver to that military family in an unmarked vehicle, again, because you don't want people, it's sad that that happens,
It is. Yeah.
but we want to, again, reduce anything for that family. Also, part of our direct delivery service is through our food is medicine program. And so this is where we're partnering with the Montgomery Cancer Center, Alabama Kidney Foundation, or the Kidney Foundation, Department of Public Health, and other organizations. So when you go in and you receive a diagnosis, and if you've answered as part of your social determinants of health that food insecurity is a reality for you, they will send a referral to us, and we will select diet appropriate foods for that diagnosis, and then deliver that to that individual receiving that treatment.
Sounds like you guys do a very good job of instead of just showing up with a bag of food, you try to
Hmm.
be very intentional with
Yes.
what you're doing,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. I mean, it's just, yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, because I think sometimes people have that, and I know I did. You know,
Mhm.
it's just like, okay, you're just passing. Everybody gets a can of green beans.
Yeah,
Everybody, and it's not like that. It's
right.
every experience I've had with the food banks,
Mhm.
that's not that case at all.
Yeah,
It's how many people's in your household?
right.
How many kids do you have? How old are they?
Mhm.
How
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
seniors get very different types of food that
exactly.
because I mean it's different people, it's
Right.
different needs,
Yeah.
and I think that's got to be the way that a part of the reason you guys are able to stretch what funds you have so
Mhm.
far is being
Mhm.
super intentional with that.
Yeah.
And I think that would make the outcome or the result much better because you're able to serve people in the truest capacity
Mhm.
you can.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and you think about it, like kids, we talk about good things to donate, food wise. I mean, pull top cans and peel off tops and things like that.
yeah.
Because, and even from a senior perspective, they may have difficulty using a can opener. So if there's another way to be able to provide food that's easy for them, I mean, those are things to think about.
No.
No glass. Don't collect glass because that can break.
Yeah.
But non-perishables are always really, really good. But just thinking about individual servings for kids and for seniors and things like that as you're, you know, making grocery shops. And I love a BOGO now. Sometimes I'll get what I need and I'm like, okay, this is going to go in my donation stack,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because I can take advantage of things like that.
Yeah. 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 And I also feel like for me personally, the more I've gotten involved and the more I've seen,
Mhm.
the more I've realized how wasteful I am.
Mhm.
And it was kind of a joke with me and my wife, like she is the frugal one and she'll grab one paper towel and I'll
Uh-huh.
grab half the roll,
Yeah.
like it's
Yep.
just small
Yeah.
things like that, but I
Uh-huh.
even like a vivid memory for me was after going to visit one of the food banks and just thinking about those people. It's
Mhm.
like I look in my trash can, I've let things expire, I've let
Yeah.
things go to, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
man, like this is $30 worth of food.
Yeah.
$30 is probably, I don't know how many meals that is for you guys, but it's a lot,
So I
because
think 150.
150?
Let's
Huh,
do a simple
yeah.
math.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
150 meals. That's
Yeah.
150 people you could have,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I don't think people going back to that gratitude, how good we have it
Mhm.
and how little it takes to make an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you were talking, it made me think of something else that we do that's pretty incredible. We have a store donation coordinator, and she goes around to a lot of the stores to identify things that, um, you know, I don't say have expired because we're not going to send out anything that's expired, out of date, all those different things because we there's strict regulations on what we can do. But food waste is a big thing. So that is always top of mind for us as well. So when we get those fruits and vegetables in, we want to be able to get that out as quickly as we can. And even if we aren't able to distribute as quickly as we can, then we have farmers that we work with. So we're able to provide, if we've got lettuce that's left over, we can provide that to a farmer
Mm.
that may have an animal that can use that. So, you know, we try to eliminate as much waste as possible.
Yeah. 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 And I think the American culture is just a little wasteful, aren't
Yeah.
we? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But so are there any new plans for what you guys are doing? Anything on the horizon?
We're going to kind of hang tight right where we are.
Okay.
We have been very focused on our food as medicine programs, our Heroes Harvest. We've gotten those off the ground. So we're going to kind of, you know, hang steady right now. Again, the mission is still number one for us, but nothing super new right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but yeah,
I think you guys have got your hands full with this budget cut.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
you could say that. Yeah,
because I didn't realize that, and
yeah,
that's very new. That's
yeah.
very new.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's very
I'll
new.
see what I can do to help on
Well,
that.
thank you.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but no, I think you guys are doing a really really good job. So
Hmm.
so how long do you plan on doing this?
I mean, as long as I can. I
Yeah,
mean, as long as
yeah,
I'm doing a good job out there, keep me around. No,
yeah.
I just feel like the Lord has just blessed me with certain gifts and talents, and I just want to be able to do them to the best of my ability, achieve what needs to be done at the food bank, and just keep on keeping on. I mean, I really do love. I mean, I'll be honest. I've reached the age where you know, I've done what I've wanted to do, and I'm just enjoying what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And as long as they'll have me around, we'll hang out.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point I'm going to have to retire, but
Yeah.
that's going to be a little ways down the road. But I do enjoy it.
What do you do outside of we'll call it work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or what do you do outside of your mission? How about that?
Okay. So I
Yeah.
like to read,
Yeah.
and I do have a blog. I do write. I haven't written in a while. I've got
I didn't
ideas.
know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is this at?
It's on Blogspot. It's Jesus Girl with Curls.
Oh,
Really
makes sense.
original.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I am a Jesus girl with curls.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's out there. And then I've gotten involved with community theater. So
Fun.
that's been occupying my time.
Community theater. What drew you into that?
Um, well, okay.
You always been into theater and acting or
No,
no? Okay.
no. Okay, so this is a funny story. So okay, so I lost my dad in December of 22.
Mm.
And I guess it was 23. I saw my local community theater, which I'd gone to see shows before, and they were going to do Willy Wonka. I was like, "Oh, well, I love Willy Wonka. Maybe I'll audition." And I've never done theater before. I'm short, so maybe they'll cast me as an Oompa Loompa. They didn't cast me as an Oompa Loompa, but they did cast me as Grandma Josephine, and I had a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I just wrapped up my fourth performance,
Congrats.
Stephen Sondheim musical. A funny thing happened on the way to the forum. It was a farce, and it was so fun and so funny. But again, depending on when you're listening and watching this, Peter Pan and Wendy the musical opens up on July 17th. So I get to play the role of Tick Tock Croc.
Hey,
So I'll be
that's
in a
awesome.
crocodile costume.
I'll
So
have to make sure and get a picture.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. The director has been very gracious and not, he's like, I know you just got done with that show. I know how much you enjoy spending time with your husband, so you don't really need to come to rehearsals until this date. So I'm like, okay, good. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, why did I do this to myself? So I told my husband, I said, I'm not going to do another show this year. That's my plan.
Yeah.
Because there is something if it's offered next year, I want to do that. And I just doing two back to back is hard.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It's
a time
another
commitment.
full-time job.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I did the math. I did do the math. It was 34 days of commitment and 105 hours.
105 hours is a lot of time.
Yeah.
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 That's a full-time hobby.
Oh my gosh. It was way more than the other ones I've done. Those were like 80 hours.
Yeah. What's your blog about?
So it's just, if the Lord put something on my heart, I just write about it.
Okay.
I am I'm amazed at just the beauty of this earth. I'm amazed in the beauty of a stray cat that is no longer a stray cat, um, and the resilience that those little critters have. It could be it could be about family.
Yeah.
It's just there's one I want to write about. I haven't written about it, but it's about I was at the beach last year with some of my cousins and I was just watching. I don't like the sand. I like to walk on the beach. I like to listen to the waves. I don't like the sand coming back with me. But I was watching the undertow and I was like, "Oh, there's a message there. I just know it." So I've got to write it. I've got to
The
write about that.
undertow, when the wave comes back?
Mhm. Yeah, that sometimes that like the Lord is wooing you back into a relationship with him. I think that's going to be the core of what that message is going to be.
Mm.
So, but yeah. Yeah.
Breaking you down to pull you
Mhm.
back in?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I'm following there.
okay.
I'll have to read some of your
Yeah.
blogs. Yeah,
Yeah.
I swear I'm gonna write a book one day. Like
Mhm.
I've got tons and tons of notes and
Yeah.
like different things I want to write about. But
Mhm.
and I do think that writing is helpful for your own psyche.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
your own thoughts and really getting clear on what you actually think or believe or
Mhm.
what it is. It's a good way to go a little bit deeper into life.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's what I want to do with my blog. I've said this for probably 5 years. I need to put this in a book. I need to put this in a book. And I have not made the time to really do the research. I've got friends who know people who have done this.
Yeah.
So I need to work that. But I've got oh my gosh, there's probably at least 150 out there.
Oh wow.
I've
Yeah. How
been
long have you
writing
been doing it?
probably about 10 years maybe.
Yeah.
I used to write every single Sunday night, and then it just stopped.
Yeah.
And then some would pick up, and then, I'd stop but
The
I
ebbs and
still
flows of life.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
is. It really is.
Yeah, because I know I do a lot of weekly emails and
Mhm.
things like that, and it gets tough to
Yeah.
just hammer them out. Because sometimes it's super easy.
Mhm.
You get this spark and you want to share it, and it's good.
Yeah.
The same way like we do. We call them Monday morning huddles,
Mhm. Yep.
and it's just real. It's really about mindset. It's really
Mhm.
about just thoughts and ideas, and it's a group talk. And sometimes it's really easy to come up with a topic and I
Yeah.
can just bang, bang, bang. And sometimes it's just like 20 minutes before it starts, it's like, ah, this is killing me. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I
So,
know. I know
yeah,
it's hard. It's
yeah,
hard.
the consistency of it.
Yeah.
So, um, well, I appreciate you coming on.
You're
I
welcome.
really enjoyed it. And where do they go? People listening, people watching,
Mhm.
people that hear about it, where do they go to get more information?
Mhm.
How do they take action?
Yeah. Super easy. Just go to www.hafb.org. So it's just short for Heart of Alabama Food Bank. Or you could just Google Heart of Alabama Food Bank. And there is, on our website, there's a way to get involved if you want to volunteer. If you want to donate, there's a donate thing there. And if you got questions, you can just call me.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Before we jump off, there's four questions
Oh,
I
yeah.
ask everyone that comes on.
Yes. I've been thinking
What's
about
your
these.
favorite book?
You okay. I really kind of struggled with that. I mean, because the Bible's always good because it's always got good advice.
Yeah. And
Um,
by the way, I only prep people on the four questions. That way they've got something
yeah.
to
So
think
I was
about.
like, okay. I'll be honest. The one that kept coming to my mind was "Who Moved My Cheese."
That's a good one.
It is
You
a
know what
good
the
one.
irony of that is? We
What?
started a book club this year,
Uh
and
huh.
that was the first book
Wow.
yeah, we started a book
Yeah.
club at First Call,
Uh huh.
and that was the first one.
Yeah.
And it's been tough to beat that one. It's actually
Uh,
sitting right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a good one, and
Mhm.
I think throughout my career, you know, I would catch myself asking myself, "Is my cheese getting moved? Is my cheese getting moved?" And so I think it puts you kind of in perspective of like being, recognizing it and not just be blind
Yeah.
to it. So that one was the one that just kept bubbling up in my head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. I dig it. I dig
yeah,
it. It is a good book. I'd have to agree. It's one of the, and I think too, like the a lot of people discredit really short
Yeah.
stories or short
Mhm.
books, but there was a quote I heard that the truest statements can be said in one sentence. You
Mhm.
don't need an essay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
That's
that's
so
why
true.
quotes exist.
Yeah.
That's why, short books and short stories are so impactful,
Mhm.
is because it's just the truest version of truth,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Have you read Gung Ho?
No.
Okay, that's another good short read. So take
Gung
a
ho?
Gung Ho, Gungho.
Okay. I'll make sure and do that because we
Yeah.
we need one. So,
Yeah.
if you could have dinner with anyone, past, present, or future, who would it be?
Golly. I mean, I guess I keep going back to my dad.
Yeah.
I miss him. Um, I'll try not to cry. I mean, the relationship was hard at times, but he taught me a lot.
Yeah.
He taught me a lot. And I just want to, doing good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure
Yeah.
you'd say yeah. Yeah. What's your favorite food?
See, I'm not picky.
You're
I
not
mean,
picky?
now I love me a good old pizza.
Yeah.
Um, I love me a good old salad. I mean, I could name all these places down the road. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really have like there's not a like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to have this.
Okay.
Cause I'm just a equal opportunity food lover. I like it all. Except sardines. I don't care for
No
sardines.
sardines.
No
Okay.
sardines.
Everything else is
No
on the table.
no pineapple on my
All right.
pizza.
Let me ask it a different way.
Okay.
Last restaurant you went to that you were just like, wow, this is great.
Oh, well,
Yeah, or it could be a home cooked meal. I'm
I'm
trying to
gonna say
make the
it's a home cooked meal because
what
Gary
what
cooked last night and it was so good. It was red
what
beans
do you
and
make?
rice.
Oh,
It
red
was
beans.
red beans and rice with Kaneka sausage. It was so good. I was like, I gotta go back for seconds. I said,
Yeah.
this is so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Okay. Okay.
thank you for the rephrase because that was when you said the so good. I'm like, that was so good last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes it's the simple stuff.
It is. It
And a
really
lot of
is.
times it's the experience that you have with the food that
Yeah.
makes it,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Yeah.
so we got how you did it, but what is your why? And is it the same today as when you first started?
No. I mean, I think depending on your seasons of life, your why is going to be so different. I just know that there's a bigger mission out there, and I'm a vessel that the Lord is using to help reach that. And so I'm just before I leave my house every day, I pray, Lord, for a great day. I pray for your will, however it's supposed to happen. I'm gonna walk in your way, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna give you glory. That's
Yeah.
it. And I thank him for that every night before I go to bed.
Yeah.
And I just think he has me here for a reason. Sometimes we don't always know exactly what it is, but if I'm walking in pure relationship with him, I know he's not gonna leave me
Yeah.
wrong. So that I guess that'd be my why.
That's a good one.
Think.
You're talking about your prayers. One, I walk a mile or run or jog.
Mhm.
That's like kind of my standard. Travel a mile every
Yeah.
day, but and like I kind of wrap it up before I head to the gym.
Mhm.
And um, the prayer that I've prayed for a while is, Lord, please help me deny myself to where all I do glorifies you. And
Mhm.
it's really a good
Mhm.
mindset,
Yeah.
like it's a
Yeah.
good, just
Mhm.
deny myself.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think we think about it that way, but like
Yeah.
that's really what it is.
It
So,
is. John 3:30. He is greater than me, or he is greater. I
yeah.
mean, that's a short, and I think even from a leadership perspective too, when we remove ourselves out of the way, because it's not about us.
No,
So,
we just had a big leadership meeting yesterday,
mhm.
and it's reminding of it's not about us, it's
Yeah.
about everybody else,
Mhm. Yeah.
and how do we get better at that?
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
well, Jamie, I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was
Thanks for the
fun.
invite.
All
It
right.
was.